hut is a family dwelling. In our African colonies, people have lived in these conditions because they knew no better. The houses were poor and of necessity temporary, and the animals, the wealth of the family, often shared them at night. Bad housing is one of the chief causes of avoidable illness and disease. At one time, the only help in Africa was the local medicine man. Nowadays, however, things are gradually changing. Hospitals like this one, well equipped and well staffed, have been built in many places by the government and the missions. Here, the more seriously ill and injured people can receive proper treatment. Good food, cooked under hygienic conditions, is particularly important in African hospitals because much of the disease is due to poor diet. In many villages, dispensaries have been set up to deal with minor ailments. The people flock there eagerly for treatment. Africans are now being trained as doctors and are learning to look after the health of their own people. The care of children comes first of all. Diet must be carefully planned, and nowadays at hospitals, maternity centers and schools for girls, people are taught what to eat to keep healthy. The children must have plenty of raw fruit and vegetables. More and more African women are going to hospital to have their babies. These medical and welfare services are vital remedial measures, but it's the living conditions in their homes that must be improved if the people's health and standard of life are to be permanently bettered. Here, of course, women play the most important part. In this mission school in the Kikuyu Reserve in Kenya, there are about 200 girls between the ages of 6 and 16. They are taught the importance of cleanliness in the home, and particularly when preparing food. The fees are very small, but if children are too poor to pay, the local native council will often pay for them. The primary object of the schools must be to teach the girls how to run a home, and especially how to cook the right sort of meals. When they marry, the girls will be able to keep their families clean and healthy. The girls are eager to learn, and they learn by the best method of all, practice, which forms good habits. In sewing classes, they learn to make their own clothes. During the last 10 years, there has been a big increase in the number of child welfare centers and clinics. In some parts of Africa, at one time, a great number of babies died before they were 1 year old. but the work done at these centres and clinics has lowered the mortality rate in a most encouraging way. Mothers are learning the importance of bringing their babies to be weighed regularly. Like all children, young Africans need physical training to develop their bodies. Both boys and girls thoroughly enjoy it. School children receive a good grounding in the 3 R's and the ordinary school subjects, and in addition they are taught handicrafts which will be useful to them at home or will help them to earn a living. Carpentry is very popular. Many schools in the colonies specialize in vocational training. At agricultural schools like this, the pupils are boys who have done well in a government examination. Most of them enter the school when they're about 14 years old. They are taught how to look after livestock and how to improve the yield of milk. One of the curses of Africa is not lack of land, but the bad use made of it in so many areas. Until they are taught sound methods of farming, Africans only scratch the topsoil with a hoe, plant for immediate needs, and use up the goodness of the earth. When one plot is worn out, they move on to another. If the crop fails, the people starve. So today the African is being taught the need for crop rotation, for manuring, and for deep cultivation to keep the land fertile and to get good crops. So that they can store food against bad times, pupils are taught to build storehouses that are proof against rats. Corn stalks are used for bedding down the cattle. As they are trodden into the mire, they become excellent manure. The cattle find a certain amount of nourishment in them, but it's the manure that is so valuable. Students don't work all the time. They enjoy a game of football and they play it very well. Now let's go to an African homestead. Africans are intelligent folk. Once they see that a new way of doing things is good, they are very quick to put it into practice, and nothing will persuade them to return to the primitive methods that they've discarded. So when the African who has been to a modern agricultural school goes back home, he keeps to the new methods he's been taught. He follows an intelligent plan of cropping, which keeps the soil fertile and his family healthy. No land is wasted. Lines of fruit trees separate one field from another. The farmer's wife brings up her baby as she was taught to do at school. The farmer doesn't forget to wash his hands before milking the cows which he keeps to provide milk for the children. The meals are cleanly prepared and better cooked. And there's more variety in the food. By sensible farming, hard work and thrift, the farmer has been able to buy a plough. His wife keeps the house and everything about it as clean as possible. By using the methods taught in the agricultural schools, a man can keep himself and his family on a farm of 7 to 10 acres and can grow cash crops as well. But more than that, he no longer needs to uproot himself every few years, but is able to have a permanent home. So a steady improvement in living conditions is taking place in many parts of Africa. But more schools are needed if the Africans are to learn how to use their land to the full and make clean and healthy homes where they can enjoy true family life.